Hey everyone, this is Tristan Van Aken with the Roaming Desk. This is actually our first podcast where we film and interview business owners around the United States, anywhere but in office. Our guest today is Ethan Wallace. He is one of the top rising realtors in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, especially down in the Ballantyne area. So he has been delighted us for our first podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into it. So give us a little bit of a background on who's Ethan Wallace, where did you come from,
Yeah.
where Rufferton is, where Rufferton is,
Yeah.
and how you got into real estate.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, so I originally grew up in Rutherford, North Carolina, which is basically in between Charlotte and Asheville, North Carolina. And I have always realized I've just wanted to do something in business. So I actually started out in, I started out at Walmart. if we're going that far back, it was like a summer job when I was like 15 or something, whenever I could get a work permit. So I started out doing that. I was the guy that went out and pushed the carts. And then all of a sudden, then I graduated and got into real estate. And the reason how I kind of got into that was basically through my mom's employer at the time. He was a real estate, he had his own real estate firm actually in Rutherford. And I knew, because I was in like my first semester in college, and I realized like I knew that I wanted to do something in business that was going to be scalable and also just be able to grow in my own way. So something with some flexibility. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be real estate. But then when I was sitting in college, and I was just sitting there on my computer while the professor was going over whatever he was going over, I was sitting there watching Shark Tank videos and all this stuff on like basically like what I want to do. And I couldn't think
prime student right there.
Yeah, prime student. I knew it was going to be business, but basically I couldn't think of anything to invent, and then I couldn't think of any other business that really worked well for me. So actually, my mom's employer at the time, she told me, she was like, "Hey, why don't you look into real estate?" Basically, long story short, that sky's the limit on how successful you can be in this business, and there's a lot of different routes you can take with it. And I actually started my real estate career in Asheville, North Carolina. So I did that for 2 years, where I was in the top 40 under 40 with Asheville Real Producers at the time. And then later moving to Charlotte in 2020, where I met my now wife, I've been in the top 1% in the nation here, and then later on getting the 40 under 40 here in Charlotte as well. So it's been a great market to be in. Can't be more excited. So
that's awesome.
A little bit.
So we're going to talk about the journey. We know where you are at now. We know where you came from.
Right.
Walmart to, what do you say, top 40 of 40? To 40 under 40.
40 under 40
and then 1% in this area in the nation.
In the nation, yep.
This is going to be more for all the realtors out there, because the stats are pretty high. You start as a realtor, you don't last. I mean, it's,
forgot what it was specifically. I think it was like an 85%
chance. Yeah, something like that.
Or failure rate in the business.
And so obviously 15% did it the right way. When COVID hit, you kind of started, which was wild, because that's when, all that started. And so for the new realtors who are trying to come into this business, we're going to go through your journey, but we're also going to go through the important things like marketing. What did you do different? You're part of a group now that's helped you, and all that. So during the challenging times, what are some things that you were like, hey, I wish I had done this back then to make my situation better? Because you don't get a paycheck every month like everybody else does. Neither do I. But,
Yeah.
What are some things you wish you did different?
Back then?
Back then.
Honestly, the thing, if I could turn back time, it would be putting systems in place in my business early on and documenting my business and start doing all that early on, because it's something that, like, as you're growing, you're continuing to try to think of new ways to layer onto what you're currently doing, or you get lost in the sauce. you get lost in the sauce. Basically, if you have your but if anyone new starting out, if they were in real estate, basically, I mean, it's track what you're doing early on and actually find a coach or a mentor, someone really early on to kind of help you with a huge learning curve you can bypass. If you just hire someone that's been there and done that before, I think that's going to be huge and like just making you get there much faster than what you would on your own. And real estate is a really lonely, or being a real estate agent can be a really lonely business as well. So like being able to have people around you that like are, trying to help you grow, and not just in your company, but even outside your company or even outside the state. You can even look for people outside of your business. So like if you're in real estate, like you, for example, like you're in graphic design. So like, I mean, reach out to you for advice sometimes, or, I mean, there's just all sorts of people out there that you can pull different ideas and get some thoughts behind. But yeah, for anyone starting out, I think that's the best way to go.
Okay. Let's talk about, we'll go back to the coach thing, because I know you got one now that you're really helping you out. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
What should you do with money when you first start out?
Oh,
that's a big one.
You probably can answer that better than me, because I've made a lot of mistakes with money.
but now you know how there's the light.
Yeah.
Anyway,
lights going
for those
up.
viewers, we got a light that goes on and off, but that's kind of the perk of having a podcast without an office, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We got to play with the elements.
Got to play with the elements. And so, yeah, the money challenges were there.
Yeah.
But obviously you figured it out now. So like what should people do with their money? Realtors. They make their first $20,000 paycheck or $10,000 paycheck. Yeah. What's the first thing they should do with it?
I remember specifically in 2024, whenever I had in 1 month I had over $100,000 coming in, and I met with one of my mentors at the time, and I was like, dude, like I'm scared. I don't know what to do with this. I was like, it's daunting having this much money come in at one time. And obviously most people should know you got to go ahead and it's a good idea to set about 30% out for taxes, I'd say. Then you also need to have a portion of that obviously is going to pay all your bills. And you kind of start collecting. I like to go for about a 6 months, especially in our business, being that it's 100% commission based, have about a 6 months emergency fund, which is kind of what Dave Ramsey talks about. But having a 6 month emergency fund. And then on top of that, I would say that having money set aside to reinvest back into your business, and whether that's postcards or marketing or whatever it is, like you got to pay for photography for future listings. Like you want to have like a good cushion there to where like you can pull from it if you need to. But one of the other things too is I heard it's like a CFO for hire. And basically he handles my books and everything to make sure that like I'm not going to get in trouble with the IRS. we don't need that.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're fun. But yeah, I mean, just having a bookkeeper or an accountant, someone that is going to help you with your money management, or like having. I just recently switched over to Monarch, which is like a budgeting tool. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, just having something in place, and like whenever you get your whole check, not just going out and like, if you make $10,000, go buy a Rolex or something. Like you don't want to do that. It's do treat yourself. When I did meet with my mentor, he was like, use a small portion, no more than 10% probably, but of whatever you're going to make in that check. But like use that to be able to invest or treat yourself to something. Either that's a nice suit, you get yourself a nice watch, get yourself a you can save it to get a bigger item for like a car or something that you might desire. But it's good to do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, talking about budgeting, things along those lines. So I'm going to put a quick plug in. This is not a paid plug, but the guy that CFO for hire that Ethan's talking about, we actually use as well.
Yep.
His name's Raymond White. He's with Shared Prosperity Financial. and he's probably the best. I don't know if you call him a CPA, but accountant financial officer that you can get if you're really trying to crack down on saving money, not dealing with the IRS as much, going about that in the right fashion. Then that is someone that you definitely want to work with. We'll put the link in the video if you guys want to check him out. But
definitely not a plug.
Definitely
not a paid
plug. But like he's really good. I mean, I recommend him to all my clients as well.
Awesome.
And I mean, he can save you tens of thousands of dollars for sure.
Yeah.
Lord knows I had the same learning experience with the IRS of like, oh, this money is all mine. Well, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
Eventually you got to pay them. And so, he kind of helped me navigate through that early on. And so next we're going to go into talking about the coach that you were working with now. So
Sure.
You talked about how you wish you had coaching back then.
Yep.
You recommend everybody have coaching back then. Talk about your coach now, kind of what you're doing as far as like on the marketing side, how it's helping, what these video calls are doing, things like that.
So really what it's helped me do is put these systems in place and a lot of things that I didn't have set up in the beginning. So one of those aspects is having safety nets. And that was one of the first things we set up. So one of those safety nets is what we call for sellers HomeBot. And that basically tracks everybody that's on the seller side. Anyone that owns a home goes into this system so we can keep track of them. And if it has scores in there like likely to sell, so on and so on. And if there's things like our newsletter. I set up a newsletter, something that I've done on and off in the past, but it's one that's just so every single person that you ever know, you're keeping in touch with them at least once a month. And some people decide to do it weekly. Some people will do bi-weekly or monthly. And I've even seen there's some people, I know I used to be on Grant Cardone's thing, and it used to be like every single day you would get some sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
But eventually you get to where you want to unsubscribe. And the thing is, like, having these set up, also these safety nets in your business, is don't worry about bugging these people. If they don't want to be bugged, there's an unsubscribe button. So just let them do it themselves. Put everybody in the system, but you'll actually be surprised because like a lot of people actually want to read your stuff. There's someone in our coaching group, she was telling us a story that she had some past clients. They actually sit around the dinner table and they will read the newsletter as a family. And like it's just something they do just so they can get the latest update. Like if like you read a newspaper or something.
And for those of you guys tuning in, as you noticed, we changed location. As Ethan said earlier, we are in nature, and sometimes nature means you have an angry old dude that yells on his phone in front of the camera,
talking to his kids, his wife, somebody.
So we moved. I think this is nicer. Hope y'all do too. But an example of creative marketing. Sometimes you got to change.
Hey, you said every time you do one of these, it's going to be a different location, or it's going to be unique.
So we did 2 in 1 take on the first podcast. That works out good. So we just went through newsletter and email marketing, which is probably a critical piece of marketing that people neglect, don't use for their business, or don't have time to use for their business.
Right.
And that's the first thing you mentioned, right? The email marketing, getting your stuff in front of people is extremely important.
Yep.
And so, number one, right? A lot of people miss that. You also said you were going to talk about layering. So tell us a little bit about, to me, that's more like traditional marketing, like building that relationship just a little bit at a time. But tell me how layering kind of plays an effect in real estate.
Sure. So layering, and I'll talk about it from the lead gen perspective. So for example, open houses, you schedule an open house, you have, and this can be for any business that's out there, not just real estate, but in our business, when you have an open house, you put signs out, you put it on social media, you go do the open house for 2 hours or so, and basically that's it. You go to the open house and that's it. You can do things to layer that open house. And basically what that means is sometimes you might decide to start doing postcards, or you might start doing beforehand, to start advertising the open house. And you could do things even as simple as like just buying some Fuji water and like just start putting that out instead of like some just Kirkland Costco water bottles, just little things to like always be layering into your marketing and like what you're currently doing to make it a stronger process. So at first, for example, my database, my sphere of influence, all the people, which sphere of influence is basically like everybody that you know. You either put them in a CRM or a spreadsheet, whatever you have. And my layer for that was to create a top 50 list. And that top 50 list is my top people that are either I'm doing one deal a year with, either on a personal level, or they are referring me one piece of business every year. And that's like, to be on my top 50 list, they have to be referring me business or doing something. So when it comes to that top 50 list, you can layer that even further down and have a core 10 list. And your core 10 list is your people that are like well clients that are going to be sending you like multiple pieces of business throughout the year. And you want to treat those core 10 people like super special. You want to be sending them like special gifts, take them out for meals, like do all kinds of stuff that's going to be a little bit outside the norm. You want them to know that they're in your core 10 list, and you want the top 50 to know that they're your VIP. And some people won't call it top 50. Some people will call it like their VIP clients, just people that they're doing a lot of deals with. And just layering's basically just making what you're currently doing better. That's basically all that is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So traditional marketing.
Okay.
A lot of people don't do that anymore, right? Yeah. Like, one of the biggest things we see, at least in Charlotte, from a design industry or design agency's point is, one, people don't answer the phone, which is wild if you own a business. If you own a business, answer your phone. Like that should be step one, but you'd be surprised in how many businesses like we test call. You don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
And that's lost business. And two, we have a couple clients. We stopped doing like, hey, we're going to meet you at your business or we're going to go out to lunch. But there's a few clients, especially some clients that are used to like the older marketing styles of when we do business on the golf course or we do business at a restaurant, right? Or like, hey, I had a client for 10 years. Something happened, you're struggling a little bit, or like, hey, your card got declined and you have to deal with identity theft. We had a client ask us about that, and I said, here, just take care of it. Website maintenance is on us for a few months.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, right? And just doing the little bit extra, in your case, putting the Fuji water. I don't really know how to say it.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Not the back of the trunk Costco water. Maybe I've seen people put out cookies.
Right.
You mentioned did you mention the door knock thing?
Yeah, you can add door knocking as a layer, and everyone's going to be different. I mean, like you can do door knocking and go 10 doors to the right, 10 doors to the left, and up and down the street, and just adding something to like try to bring more people in. And one other thing, like even with the open houses, if there's realtors watching, like you can do something like the first hour of the open house before, say if you got it set from 2 to 4 p.m., maybe from 1 to 2 p.m. it's just a neighbors only open house. So you go out and those people that you're inviting is only going to be the neighbors that's coming out.
Ah.
Just so that, because like people want to know, most people want to just kind of know who they live around, or at least kind of get to know people in their neighborhood. And that's kind of like just a easy way to kind of be like, you know what, come to the open house, meet your neighbors, and in the meantime, you get to check out a house, kind of know what the market's like in your neighborhood, things like that. So
I'm actually going to switch tune because I know I said traditional marketing. I'm going to call that creative marketing because that is not necessarily traditional, but building relationships in a unique way that, to be honest, I've not heard from other realtors before. It's like that's something creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, the layering method, this is from me working with realtors, the biggest thing is how do they differentiate themselves in the market, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can sell a house if they're a realtor, but not everybody can sell a house if they're a realtor. Just because you have the ability to doesn't mean that you can actually follow through with it. Talking to a lot of realtors, their biggest hurdle is finding clients.
Yeah.
right? And there's some realtors that have only like sold, I don't know if you remember what the statistic was, but it was like 1 or 2 houses in their lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, most
Right.
and like we mentioned earlier, the 85% failure rate, those 15%, they're still like a huge portion of them is only doing 1 to 5 deals a year.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. It's still a small number. And I don't know for those that have heard the 80-20 rule, but 20% of the agents that are doing 20% of the agents out there are doing 80% of the market, or they're selling 80% of the market. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, and the rest of it's just everyone else.
So for those agents who, because obviously you have agents in a couple buckets. You have agents who, I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm going to sell 1 house every couple of years. Or, hey, I'm an investor and an agent at the same time because I want to be able to buy my own house and have those deals. And then you have people who are like, I'm trying to aggressively make money for my family, like make this
right.
what you're doing. And so for those who are in that bucket, how do new realtors, I guess, what would you recommend them doing first 90 days? Getting started, here's how you need to go about getting new clients immediately.
First, as we mentioned earlier, hire the coach. Have someone in your corner that can help excel you faster. Figure out your 3 main lead sources and what those are going to be. They're going to be different for everyone. And I always recommend at least one of those is your sphere and the people that you already know. That's how you're going to kind of get off the ground the quickest. And I would just say that, like, I'm trying to think of something else that really would kind of help push you. I guess the biggest third thing is just being consistent with whatever it is with your activities and focusing on what those productive activities are in your business and not getting stuck in the busy work. Because it's very easy to start designing a flyer and like spending the entire day on it. But those activities for us are not the most meaningful or most impactful things that are like going to help us grow. So like do the activities that are going to get you further and actually make your business grow instead of like focusing on those that aren't. I mean, early on, you might not have a lot of money to kind of like invest and be able to hire out like people to edit your flyers or your open house signs and all this stuff. And it's a growing process. So your first 90 days, a lot of people don't even sell a house for first 6 months or even the first year. Like it takes time. But it's being very consistent with your activities and what you do, like, is going to go a long way. And it doesn't hurt as well. Like if you have to, I mean, there's no shame. If you have to have a part-time job when you're getting started in a new business, like you can do that for a short time as long as you are actually trying to build your business and you're not just like goofing around and so on and so on. But I mean, like if you have a family and like people you need to be need to be bringing income in, like take the part-time job. There's no shame in trying to make money. So while you're trying to start something new.
Well, I know you and your wife, when you first started, you guys did dog watching too.
We did.
And not only that, your wife ranked, was it #1 on Rover?
Yeah, she was #1 in Rover
so
for
like,
a while. Yeah.
Anything y'all seem to do, you get #1 in. But,
I mean, it was, like the dog watching thing, like anything that you need to do to like, I was starting new in Charlotte, so we needed some money coming in. So, I mean, I was like, we're doing the dog watching. She took over that, and she was doing tennis as well, like just doing tennis.
I remember the tennis.
Lessons. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no shame in that at all.
No. I mean, any business owner listening, realtor or not, I started my design agency in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I had a job at CVS. I had a job at Harris
I remember
Teeter.
you telling me about that.
I had a job with actually a fireman crew that like they did lawn care outside of being firemen. So like they taught me about lawn care.
Okay.
I did everything under the sun just to make sure I could eat.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
gotta eat ramen noodles.
Right? I stopped. I left college and said I never want to have a job again. This is terrible.
Yeah.
And I just got up and moved back to Charlotte from Gardner Webb. Don't recommend that for anybody. Be smart about that move. I wasn't, but I refused to.
Well, you had a roommate for a few years, didn't you?
I had so many roommates. I lived with a lady for free, and in return, I made her meals and cleaned her house.
Yeah.
I lived with a roommate not far from my mentor just down the road, and it was awesome. It was like $200 a month for a room, something dirt cheap, and they were good Christian people, and that was great for a little bit. And then one of my best friends moved up to Charlotte, and we moved in with in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 people. Wild times, but we both had to make it work, and then eventually got my own place, and then eventually I met you guys. So it was a learning process for sure.
I'd be curious to hear, like, I know I've been talking a ton, so I want to hear some from you on just like you build websites, you do logos and stuff. So like, tell me, I know you built my website, which, for realtors, it's not necessary. You don't have to build a website as a realtor. I did it because I wanted something that was not something where people are going to go search for houses and stuff. So it doesn't even have that feature on there.
Nope.
It's more so just so people can click it. They can read about me, learn more about me. And I wanted to support your business too. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I bought a house for me. At least you can do is get a website. I know.
I had to get a website eventually. But I'm curious to hear, like, on how important is presence in like building a business, especially because I know you have a passion for helping a lot of people on like the new, when they're starting a new venture, and or for people that are even established, but you have a passion for helping businesses grow. So I just want to hear, like, what is it that, like, businesses, what do you find the most value in having a website and like nice logos and stuff? Like, how does that help, like, reach more people and stuff like that?
So I'm going to stick realtor specific just because it's different for realtors than it is almost every other business.
Okay.
Right. I talk to a lot of realtors that come to me and say, hey, I want a custom website, or hey, I want to integrate the MLS, or I want to integrate IDX, or like all these things. And at the end of the day, if your website does not have strong SEO, search engine optimization, and during this time, people are talking about AEO and GEO and all the AI
I don't
stuff.
even know what that is yet. So.
Yeah. So that's like nice ranking for like AI results and this, that, and the other, language learning models, a whole different ballgame that we can get into another podcast. But unless you're ranking for that in your world, it's not worth paying $10,000 for a website.
Yeah.
Right. And so I tell a lot of realtors, like, if you want to do that, you have to do it purely out of, you want something to have your presence shown differently from everybody else, because you're going to be competing against Remax. You're going to be competing against Zillow. You're going to be competing against Realtor.
They put millions and dollars
they're
into
spending
marketing.
Millions of dollars in marketing. You're not going to beat them.
Yeah.
We do some amazing SEO work, and I won't even try. I'll let people know, like, it's not worth our time.
In the real estate space.
Right?
Fair.
And so your website's different because you're growing in Charlotte. One, I know you, and I got you a great deal. I'm not gonna say how much it was, but it was $10,000. And then a lot of the things that realtors are doing now that I'm sure you've heard about is they're no longer posting about, here's what I'm doing in the market. Here's what the market is doing. Here's what this, that, and the other. Here's all business stuff. They're starting to post now about who they are. You post about what you and your wife are doing. You're just now having a baby. You post about that. You post about going to events up here in Brixton Park, like the pop-up events. You post about doing different things outside of real estate, so people get to know Ethan Wallace.
Right.
So if they can relate to you personally, then
it's building that brand identity
through yourself. And that is a huge differentiator from successful real estate agents to ones that aren't.
Yeah.
And I've never actually really talked with you about this, but this is something that you're already doing, so we haven't really talked about it.
Right.
But your website reflects more of who you are and the type of work you want to do with high-end homes.
Yep.
That is your brand. When people look at that website, you're all over it. You and your wife are all over it. And I'm on it just because we had to do a stage photo shoot.
Hey, we needed some photos.
Yeah, we needed some photos, right? And so that made sense for you, but for most real estate agents, I'd say, hey, invest your money in doing something that's going to consistently work and bring in leads, right? Postcards are huge, right? It's a very low percentage of success rate. It's like 1% to 2%.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, it's something, especially if you're starting out and you have the capital to do it. My recommendation is, like, get something in the mail, take over a neighborhood, find a place that you think you can thrive in, if you live, for example, live in Ballantyne, your neighborhood, you've started doing things in your neighborhood. You did. What are the other things you did? You did.
Well, I did the postcards for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
You
get to
started
that.
a Facebook group too.
For my neighborhood specifically. I started a neighborhood Facebook group just to get all about. It's starting to get there now, where we're getting more and more people.
It takes time.
It
Facebook groups don't grow immediately.
It's a learning curve for me because like I've never really like built Facebook pages like that before. But it's building the Facebook groups. I went around the neighborhood, door knocked on my neighbors, and basically just introduced myself, handed them a flyer, letting them know I'm the realtor in the neighborhood. And eventually I'm planning to do more things like this, where kind of get into layering a little bit again, but where like I start doing like, what's it called? Spring clean out. Is that what it's called? When
Spring cleaning?
Spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I thought about hiring like a dumpster truck for the neighborhood and going around the neighborhood again and like just putting door hangers out and just be like, hey, on this date, we're going to have, it's going to have my branding on it, but it'll be basically just saying like, hey, there'll be a dumpster out at the main road, and feel free to bring all your stuff that you want to throw away. Like just little things, that can be bigger, but you can have sponsors, people that like kind of help with the cost. And overall, I think that's going to, just create an impact. And back to the consistency, just being able to like consistently show your brand, show your face around your neighborhood or where you're trying to be.
Sure.
And that's going to help.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an example of something that realtors would do that other businesses won't, right? Like that's not something that a construction company needs to be doing. I mean, they do have a dump truck, so I guess they could. But, realtors have to go above and beyond and be real creative with their marketing efforts beyond the norm, right? And so, you talked about the website. I don't think the website's worth it. I think if you're going to spend $10,000, put it in something else. Put it in the Fiji waters for the open house.
Oh,
put
Lord,
it in
$10,000 in Fiji waters.
$10,000 Fiji waters. You could be hydrated, hydrated to the fullest extent. But like, doing stuff like that, or getting really nice postcards, hiring a designer to do that. I know you do community events too. Like you had a winter event for your people who bought houses for you.
Yep.
And you just did one, a month ago?
Yep. So I try to do 2 events a year. I'll do one in the summer, one in the winter. So I got a Christmas party that we have for all of our clients, family and friends. We call it a family and friends event because it's not just a client appreciation event, but we want to encourage people to invite others. So we call it a family and friends Christmas party. And in the summer, we have a family and friends summer kickoff event. And we had yard games out, something very similar to this, where we just kind of went out to a local park, rented it out, and a lot of people came and we had a good time. So.
For those of you who don't know, local parks, government parks, it's very cheap to rent those.
It is.
So if you are strapped for cash, like I don't know what to do for my people, look, I mean, Ethan made it work. He got pizzas from Costco.
Yep.
Cheap. He got some people to bring some food, right? We all brought a little bit. You got some popsicles.
We had some Public subs and a variety of just different things. And like when you have events, like you can have sponsors and people
talk about that more. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like when you have events and whatever it is, like you can have people support your business, and also like in return, you're trying to send them business. Like my summer kickoff event, I've already sent out 2 or 3 referrals like to the people already, and I think it's maybe even 4 now, but I think I've sent out some business to the people that actually sponsored the event. They supported my business, I'm going to support them, and some of the people came to the event themselves, and some people didn't, and that I sent their way. But I mean, it's a good way to like, you're consistently growing. You have the sponsors, whether that's $250 for a sponsorship fee, $500 or $1,000, or whatever it is. And it's just like those events are going to be so crucial for any business. In our industry, real estate, it's one that it gets you in front of the people that you've already worked with, and it encourages them to bring their family and their friends, and it just keeps that relationship. And it's overall it's just a good growth strategy. I mean, and on top of the events, and I won't go into this too deep, but doing pop buys, which is something that I also do. And pop buys are something where like March, I'll go by and drop off succulent plants to my top 50 list.
I still got mine. It's still
Still
living.
He's got one.
It is living barely.
Yeah. It don't take a whole lot. It don't take a whole lot to keep it alive. But I do succulent plants in March. July, we just passed this one. I did sparklers and stuff. So 4th of July, I had like a cup and basically just put like an event flyer that had like all of the events happening for 4th of July, places people can go to. October, we're going to be doing one that is pumpkins and carving kits. And I'm going to have some stickers and stuff in there for kids. And then in January, every year, we have a lottery ticket that gets sent out in the mail, and it's just a $1 lottery ticket. But people,
I remember that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much the gift is. It's just about showing your presence like consistently. Like I do those things. Those pop buys come by 4 times a year. The events are twice a year, and they're spread out throughout the year to where like people are scared to pick up the phone and like contact their past clients. And like when you do events and you have pop buys and stuff, it gives you a reason to contact people. So you can contact people to invite them the month before. During the event, you have that contact because they show up. And then after the event, you got all your follow-up. And then, there's a few months in between that you're doing a couple other things, and then you got another event in December. So having all that, it's just a good way to stay top of mind without having to forcing it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, you don't have to like, hey, are you going to buy a house? Like, you
gonna buy another one?
You want to buy another house? But staying top of mind is what especially through the coaching and everything I've learned is huge. And we've implemented so much just from
the last year.
Just in the last year. Yeah, it's been huge. And the growth has been huge. We've been getting more referrals than we ever have. And I've got a team member now that is our client care manager. She basically just is phenomenal and helps out with
Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she does great. She handles all the paperwork side. So like I said, like we got to focus on the things that keep us busy and generate new business. So anything that I can delegate out, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to recap a couple things because I think we're 40 minutes in.
Yeah, you're good.
And so we talked about newsletter, email marketing, how important that is in any business, even for real estate, right?
Yep.
Getting the information in front of people, that's where you get the industry news in.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about building those relationships, layering, doing a little bit extra creative marketing that people don't think about.
Right.
Hopefully y'all got some tips. You talked about the Fiji water, talked about...
I wanted people to get something out of
this. Right? So Fiji water, doing 10 doors either side, door knocking to introduce yourself, doing the neighborhood event, like, hey, get your neighbors over to the open house and meet your neighbors.
Yep.
Things along those lines. Talk about doing pop-up events, right? You talked about one thing that I do want to mention that I know you didn't talk about, but you did, is the when you handed up the cups and like the succulents, this man drove 3 days straight all over, not just Charlotte, North Charlotte, Concord, everywhere.
Going out
to go deliver
Albemarle.
a cup with a sparkler, a piece of candy, and a business card and a succulent. That's dedication. So dedication's everything. So like just going above and beyond with the creativity is going to make the difference.
Yeah.
And then we talked about building that personal brand, not focusing on the industry and the business itself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you're a realtor out there, if you sell a house, post it.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. Do the video, get that done. But personal brand, people care about who you are as a realtor versus just what you do. Whenever you have that that conversation with them, they're going to ask about the numbers. You're going to tell them about yourself. But from my understanding, people care more about you, which does make me want to go to the next one, videography. This is going to be kind of a trick question.
All right.
3 buckets, right? You have house videos, right? Taking videos of the home. You have the polished videos of the neighborhoods, things along those lines, right? Like what this neighborhood's like. Obviously you have to have a videographer follow you around with that.
Yep.
Or the unpolished ones that are just about your life, just raw things that are about Ethan or about this realtor that are just happening. which of those 3 buckets is the most important?
Oh, I feel like you're trying to ask a trick question. Honestly, I think the unpolished videos, I gotta say I'm leaning toward that's probably more important. And second to that, I would say lifestyle, neighborhood you live in, and then I would go into the property tours themselves.
Okay.
If I had to rank them in order, I think that's how I would go. Just because I think with the unbranded, not the unbranded, but the unfiltered videos that you can put out there, I think that's going to show who you really are. It's going to build trust. People that are going to hire you want to feel like they can trust you, and that you care, and that they want to see your life, and through social media and Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. And I think unfiltered first, and then you can kind of go into exploring the neighborhoods, kind of get a feel for like the area that you live in, and then you kind of get into the property tours. I would, in my opinion, that's how I would rank them, or that's how I would grow my business if I had to pick out those 3.
Okay. And I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to agree or disagree with you, because it's again, it depends on what's effective. And so all of this content really brings us into the wrap up.
Okay.
Right. And the wrap up is going to come down to 2 things. We talk a lot about marketing, but we're also talking to groups of people who are new realtors and people who have been seasoned veterans of realtors.
Yep.
And so we got to wrap this video into both. Right. And so we're going to talk about how this wraps in the new realtors. First, by going over tools. New realtors, you want the stuff for free. Right. So let's go through some tools and let me know if I'm missing any.
Okay.
Tool number 1, MailerLite for newsletters. It's free, costs you nothing.
Is that a free one?
Yep, MailerLite is just like MailChimp, but free. And you can send out all your newsletters that way.
Now, the one I use is like $20 a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we got a free one. Which
bad.
one do you use? You go through your agency? Or?
No, I use Flowdesk.
Flowdesk. Okay.
Yep.
So there you go. So you got MailerLite, which is free, which you can try, right? Obviously, there's some limitations to each.
Okay.
But you can kind of semi-design your own templates with that one. You can have it match your brand. You got Flowdesk, MailChimp. Those, I'm assuming some agencies probably provide a system that you can, depending, I guess, who you're with.
I mean, yeah, maybe. It just depends on the who you go through. But honestly, I think the most user-friendly ones are the companies that actually specialize in it. Yeah. So, and $20 a month, if you're running a business, you're going to have some expenses. I mean, I think $20 a month is
not too bad.
It's not too bad.
But we're going to go through both categories.
Yeah,
so let's say starting realtor, MailerLite, maybe Flowdesk if you have some budget, seasoned veteran, probably the same thing. Flowdesk would work for them, right? They may have all in one system like Go High Level or something like that.
Yeah, they have workflows and stuff you can build out.
You already touched on video. So raw video, you guys can do that with your camera phone. That is free.
Oh, yeah.
Talked about free, right?
That's what I use.
Yeah, you do. And they turn out pretty good. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you could have a guy kind of follow you around with a camera.
Right.
You got to pay him, right? That might be $200 for a session.
Or you might
maybe
just have
more.
your wife or a friend go out and hold your phone.
There you
and
go.
Hit record.
Yeah.
And there you go. Feels more professional.
So now you got video covered and you have email marketing covered on the free side and on the veteran side.
Yep.
We're going to talk about socials. You started, what was it again? Explore Neighbor Charlotte?
Neighbor Explore Charlotte.
Neighbor Explore Charlotte. You've built local Facebook pages for your neighborhood.
Yep.
You can build more than one Facebook group if you really want to be aggressive. All that is free.
Yeah.
It costs nothing to do. It just costs some time, right? So that's something that a realtor can do for free. And then, consistency, you were talking about how important that was. And,
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything I can end on, it's just having consistency in your business is just the most crucial thing. I mean, like it's going to help you with any income problem that you have. Like if you're doing the efforts to actually generate business, if you're doing them consistently, I mean, it's without fail, you're eventually going to get something.
Yeah.
So having consistency is so huge.
Almost every self-help book has that in there. Just be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, Ethan, this has been great. Y'all make sure you follow Ethan Wallace or Wallace Home Realty. I'll put his socials in the description and on the screen. If you guys are planning on moving to Charlotte at any point in time, definitely talk to Ethan. licensed in North and South Carolina.
North and South, yep.
North and South Carolina. So anywhere in the state, he's definitely the guy to reach out to. And this has been our official first podcast of,
I feel honored. Thank you.
Anywhere
Thanks.
but an office.
I
We're
appreciate
never
it.
going to film in an office. So that's kind of the whole point.
We didn't know if we was going to get rained on. We didn't know.
Nope.
There was people talking earlier, like in the back of the video. I mean, all kinds of stuff are going to show up.
Consistency.
And who knows what's going to happen in the future?
We're always finding some new places. So stay tuned. Some of our next videos are going to dive deeper into marketing. We're going to interview a lot of business owners, especially around Charlotte, and kind of get more insight to every industry and how marketing affects that industry. Real estate was the first one, and Ethan, you nailed it. So until the next video, we're going to sign off.
See you on the next.
See you on the next one.
There you go.